right, looks like a female biker gang. I didn't get their name. Now, I switched over to Metallica, Justice for All. That was the cassette tape that I had in junior high, going into probably like 8th grade. I was a skater. I was approaching 15, and I listened to Metallica. And Lars Ulrich was a great drummer, and many times he'd hit the hi-hats so quickly, it sounded like the phone was ringing. So you'd listen to Justice for All, and you'd get up like 5, 6, 7 times, try to answer the phone. He was an incredibly quick drummer. And of course, James Hetfield with his vocals were amazing. The current lineup on Metallica is James Hetfield, Lars Ulrich on drums. Well, James Hetfield's the lead singer and guitar. Lars Ulrich is drums. Kirk Hammett's the lead guitar player since, I believe, mid-1980s, 1983, I think, as far back. And then Roberto Trujillo, who is bass. I think he's worked with some other bands too. And that's their lineup. And I'm listening to Justice for All, which was a cassette tape I had back in the 80s, probably when it first came out. I was in junior high at that time. It was like close to the late 80s. I'm gonna guess 87. I'm gonna look it up. All right, guys, they were probably working on Justice for All in 1987, but Metallica came out with Justice for All in 1988. It's like their, I don't know, I'm gonna guess third album. Anyway, okay, sorry. Yeah, so Justice for All came out in 1988. It was their 4th album. And I had a little cassette tape. I bought the cassette tape, you know, I bought it at a record store. And I was getting the skateboarding, and I listened to it all the time, and it was like a great experience. But I just remember Lars Ulrich always hitting the hi-hats, and then me answering the phone, and no one was there, and I was like, oh, it sounded like someone was, it sounded like, oh wow, that was like someone, that was like the phone ringing. What in the world? They were very quick. Some believe that Metallica is actually the most talented band that we've ever had on the planet. That's what some people believe. There's probably some argument that could be true if you listen to some of Kirk Hammett's complex guitar playing and James Hetfield singing. And of course, you know, you got Lars Ulrich on drums, and then don't forget about Roberto Trujillo on the bass. But he wasn't the original bass player, though. They've added some other ones. All right, we're on vlog 2, but what I have to say about Metallica and Justice for All 1988 album, Blackened is a strong entrance to an album. It's, you know, not incredibly long intro, you know, to Blackened, but I did call for it in Deep on Ellum, which is kind of my script about my youth. And it really happened at a party in this backyard. There were a bunch of skins there. There's some punks there, skaters, and all the skins were trying to jump people into their clan. They tried to trick me into it with what they call fake fighting, like fake fight me. You pretend like you're fighting them, and then they beat the crap out of you and try to jump you in. But I didn't let them. But they did play Blackened. Someone had a record player, and they played Blackened, and we did all mosh pit. We created our own little mosh pit, and got into the mosh pit. There was many mosh pits I got into, even at some concerts. A Lollapalooza, I got into all the mosh pits there, as many as I could. There was a lot of bands at Lollapalooza, the original and of course the second one. So I went to the 1992, 91 and 92, I believe. I know for sure they were 92. Yeah, I think it was 91 and 92. But I don't really remember if Metallica was a lineup at Lollapalooza. I never saw them live, I'll be honest. I always wish I did. I do consider them the most talented band of all time. I personally do. Have you ever tried to play One all the way through? Hang on, we're going to do something right here. I'm sorry, but Jimmy Page would have trouble with that puppy. So, I mean, Kirk Hammett just ripped it up, and it all makes sense. It's all laid out there in the right chords and everything. It's a great intro to play. It's a great intro for any beginning guitar player to play just the intro, the dun 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 dun, to understand the difference between chords and also how your finger works on the guitar. And I used to, for about 30 years, I still, even today, will tune the guitar to one, because you know that sound. You just know the way that one chord should sound, as well as the fourth chord too. and you can tell, okay, the guitar's in tune, and then you can move forward. So you can tune your guitar with one, and it's something I've always done. Now, I did one time sit down and I said, you know, let's go ahead and try to learn all of one, which, you know, you can put on YouTube and sit there and try it. I went into about an hour, maybe 3 hours, and barely got past the intro, you know. So there are master guitar players. It's very difficult to do for certain people, you know. There's the Masonic Lodge right there. It's a pretty cool one, right next to the new QT, which is right here. It's a brand new one right after Lancaster. Anyway, I'm gonna continue listening to Blackened. I really do want to use it in Deep on Ellum for the mosh pit scenes when they're in the garage room listening to this, like a record player, like a vinyl album of it. And then as that goes by a little bit, all of a sudden there's non-diegetic music that comes up, which is Mother from Danzig. And then it goes from there to them going to the Bomb Factory in Dallas, and then Danzig comes up again, and then, you know, and then they see Fugazi, and then, you know, I was reading some of it last night. It's a good script. I really believe in that script. But the one I'm working on now is more of an experimental piece. That's Grace, aka Werevlog. This object, I don't understand. It's artwork, but it's to me it looks like a spring-loaded mind. Something you'd step on in Call of Duty. Look at this thing. They say it's art, so I trust it. This guy's gonna let me. My goodness gracious. Anyway, this is a cool. Their bridges are all. They got it all. Pimped out and stuff. Like this one has lights on the bottom. You can see the lights way over there. See them? And then they have lights on the railing too. They work pretty hard on these bridges. Pretty proud of Fort Worth. And then also they're lighting up more of the skyline and stuff, so it's looking kind of cool. You have handrail lights right here, so when you're walking along, you got a little bit of light. That's a nice little touch of Fort Worth. And then I always miss this. This is Golden Gloves. Guess where some Golden Gloves champions have probably worked out, right next to the Trinity River. Kind of like a young Rocky Balboa. Might try to go there. And then of course you can see this is the West Fork Trinity. They have a jogging path along there. So it's a good little place for them to get cardio and then work out in the gym. We're going to the Jacksboro Walmart, pick up an order. And then we'll look for one more after that. We have to disperse a few more, just exactly what we were doing earlier. Jacksboro. I was thinking, I don't know if Eric Clapton could play some of that Kirk Hammett stuff from Metallica. They could certainly try, though. I don't remember how many deliveries this one is, but anyway, it's 8.4 miles on this delivery. It'll be 19 minutes. We'll arrive at 5:58 in the p.m. This street is it looks like maybe one of them is turned, so it has two, but the no outlet one, you can clearly see it's no outlet, so that's the one that's turned. The top one should be turned that way. Whoops, let me show that to you again. Sorry, it should be turned that way. You know, it's like, what in the world? On this right here, Bay Ridge should be like that. Meandering Creek should be turned that way. So this is Bay Ridge. All right, we're on delivery number 2 on this little segment. It's 10 miles. We'll be there in 21 minutes, 6:20 in the p.m. is the arrival. I'm re-listening to One from Justice for All, Metallica song. Generation song for sure, and I haven't put in any screenplays yet, but it might be something if I make another one, you know, if I'm able to make something else about the youth, my youth, besides Deep on Ellum. I remember hearing it and seeing it on MTV, and it was just, you know, just blew us all away. We immediately got guitars or electric guitars, or friends got electric guitars, and we'd always play that anthem opening, that dun 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 dun, dun 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 dun, dun 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 dun, dun 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 dun, dun 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 dun, and that's what you learned, you know. That got you in. There's your guitar. There's one, and go forward, you know. And some people went forward, you know. I hold on to my guitar for 30 years, still play it, just the opening, of course. I've got my own chords and things that I play, you know. Every guitar player does his own thing. But I remember being on many mattresses, you know, where the mattress is just on the floor of that guitar player. The one that would listen to Metallica posters on the wall, he always had just the mattress on the floor, you know. And then he had the amp, whoever it may be, and then the guitar, usually sometimes a Gibson, sometimes white, sometimes a Flying V. And there's so many of these guys that I had gone over their house, and here's my guitar, you know, and we could play, you know, or it'd be a captain's bed in like a trailer home kind of thing. The guy doesn't know how to use a blanker. And it was always that dude, you know, and you'd always smell a little bit like weed. And one was always, here, let's try this, you know. And then there'd be a Slayer album sitting around or whatever. But that was late 80s going into the 90s. Like late 80s was always that way. And so One was an anthem song. 1988 was when Justice for All came out. It's 1988. Right towards the end. Now the reason why in the script and Deep on Ellum that I have Danzig, because Danzig was more like 86, in the middle of the 80s, and it was a stronger, to me it's a more non-diegetic song. It's a theme song, you know. Mother is, it sounds like a movie, but Metallica sounds diegetic to me. It sounds like something to be playing on a car stereo or on a stereo in someone's back room. It sounds diegetic to me. It sounds like something to be like at a party, or you'd hear it, you know. But One would be a non-diegetic song. It'd be like a theme song. It definitely has that kind of feeling. It's got a romantic feel. It's an anti-war film. I mean, it's an anti-war song, but it brings about an anti-war message. Johnny Got His Gun was the book and the movie, I think, that it was based upon a little bit. And it definitely has its mood and its effect emotionally on you, especially at a young age. Another reason probably why I didn't join the military was because of the song One, and seeing that, learning from that, you know, learning from the video. Other reasons, of course, Stanley Kubrick's Full Metal Jacket, but because it makes you think, you know, what is that worth? And you know, Metallica, believe it or not, they're not hippies by far. They're really not hippies, but they preach a lot of stuff about love and forgiveness, and they do preach about anti-war. Even though a lot of people that went over during, you know, the 20-year war in Afghan, they played Metallica over their tanks and the Humvees and stuff on speakers to scare the enemy. But I really do feel that One from Justice for All is an anti-war song. To me it is. It's an anti-war song. It's more about peace, but what a person has to go through facing war. There's a result, you know, and killing. And One is man, it's a powerful song. Another cool thing about One too is the first time I heard a song that brought in like ambient sounds, but also sounds of war, which I think maybe it coming from the movie. You know, it sounds like there's something going on before the song begins. You know, you can hear the guns, and I think like the sounds of war, you know, within the song. There's all other songs that do it too. Jim Morrison did it on The Doors with Unknown Soldier, but it happens at the beginning, you know. It was the first time I've heard a song that sounded like a movie. You know, it brought in a movie kind of aspect to it. It was, you know, because I listened to it when I was very young. I was probably junior high when I heard it. Take that back. It was actually Pink Floyd The Wall, the first time I heard like the sound of a chopper in an album. But it comes in the beginning of the song in Metallica's One. But yeah, I guess it was Pink Floyd the first time I've heard the sounds of war within the album, which would be The Wall. But you know, Metallica does it in a very different way, and the chopper does come in. It does come in, and it kind of settles in there, and then of course the guitar, Kirk Hammett's guitar, comes in as well. All right. Jazz right here. Why would you have a blank address plate? All right, that was a couple bags of rice. Now for the next delivery will be 1.9 miles, 7 minutes, 6:41 p.m. an arrival. All right, next delivery will be 2.5 miles, 7 minutes, 6:53 p.m. arrival. In one, James Hetfield, a brilliant lyricist, it's very difficult to do, but there's a moment in one where he goes, "Landmine has taken my sight, taken my speech, taken my hearing, taken my arms, taken my legs, taken my soul, left me in a life of hell." All right, next delivery, 3.9 miles, 11 minutes, 7:09 p.m. on their arrival. Now serving since 1959, Clown Burgers. Get them when they're hot. Right down that way. Get them Clown Burgers going on. We got another apartment one we're gonna drive around off of Herrick and Haltom. As long as we get an outside address, and we should be able to find it, but haven't really been able to find an outside address. I'll probably find it somehow. I don't know if it's gonna be on the curb or something, but it's one of these because they're all A, B, C, and D. Probably A, B, C, D. That's Clown Burgers right over there. I've heard of that place. It's almost kind of like a White Castle. And it's got a clown out front. Yeah, they're pretty lucky to live right next to Clown Burger. Clown Hamburger, serving since 1959, since my dad's been around. He probably ate there a few times. Oh, wow. It looks like they're still there. Maybe they're reopening. Looks like they're doing some stuff with the parking lot. Pretty cool. Da-da-da-da. Come on, kids, everyone sing around. Landmine. Yes, taking my sight, taking my speech, taking my hearing, taking my arms, taking my legs, taking my soul. Living a life, Papa.